able to get by the lead. It looks like he might be able to get 2 positions as one. He gets a hello from the 5 behind. No wreck, though. Just a little bit of contact. The bumping and rubbing might actually shove Octavio Rondoletto back to the lead for the first time in some time. And indeed, Octavio to the point. Big wreck, and Marty and more cars. It looks like John Keefe is in there, and Gabbiani is carrying him. Literally carrying him.
Car 19's got a new hat. I wouldn't expect to be a Marlboro branded hat, but there you go. Unfortunately, John Keefe having to be a passenger all the way, literally, through that entire incident. That is worthy of a replay right there.
He got himself a cowboy hat. Bradley Hawley not defending. He's going to leave the door open. Michael Michaud is going to try and take it. He sends it in deep. Will they make contact, or are they going to keep it clean? They're going to keep just enough space between them. And for the second lap in a row, Hawley is able to hold his nose ahead.
Able to hold his nose ahead, and he knows that the advantage is now going to switch back to him through Rauch. That is Michaud trying to carry that momentum around the high side. Isn't able to do so. Dives back in the line, looking for a little bit of a crossover there. Starts to get his nose down to the inside into Verth. He's going to go for the maneuver. Hawley able to hold it out, but he may run wide here at the exit. Will that give an advantage back? No, but it will give it back to Boucher, who's now able to make the move on Michaud. A little bit of a look there from Parton, and that's just him trying to poke his nose, see if he can get any sort of a head fake, and he got one.
He goes a little bit wide, sent it in deep. He's got the inside of the second corner, though, is Parton could be able to complete the pass. He tries to pinch him down, but gives him a fair bit of space. The battle continues down into turn 3. He's on the inside. They're going to bang wheels. They come together. He knocks him back straight, but Parton is now your leader. Here comes Glover up the inside, down through the final turn and onto the front stretch, almost pushing him off the track. He has to slow up. We're going to go 3 wide as to the inside of both of them. Bergstrom says, thank you very much. I am going to snatch up P7 with that.
Oh, here comes Nicholson. He's going to look around the outside, going through that first sector. Has to look for the crossover now. He's going to go down to the inside.
It continues into turn 3. They go wheel to wheel. Track switches back. He's actually got a nose ahead, but just no grip on the marbles. Almost goes out into the grass, but he's holding on just barely.
Lakeville, Connecticut, a track which by every single measure has been one which every iRacer should know like the back of their hand. It's one of the first tracks you ever get to go to in an iRacing battle and learn and understand what it means to drive some of these machines. This is one of the machines that you take your first forays around this wonderful track with, a Mazda MX-5. And when it comes to the Big C's MX-5 Challenge, the tug of war continues today as Lime Rock Park finds ourselves as our hosts for this one. Welcome to the 6th season here of battling that we've got ourselves going forward. My name's Jake Sperry. I've got Michael Johnson along with me for the ride. Ryan Bauer is directing us today with cameras brought to you by the legendary Dougie Beard. But Michael, this is a track that you have a lot of experience with in terms of the fact that this is where you made your Grand Am debut when it came to IMSA. What are some of the tricky challenges around a track on paper which looks so very simple?
I would say the most confusing thing is just how fast you can go through that uphill. People underestimate it and sometimes try to bleed off a little bit too much speed when they're going in there, and it can cause some major problems. But you go a little too fast, you get airborne going right over that top of turn 5, and things can get pretty exciting when all 4 wheels make contact with the ground again.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you've got to deal with all of those worries, it's just one of the many pitfalls that we will have here today around this circuit. Let's take a little bit more of an understanding here of this Lime Rock track as we take a GSRC race guide.
Welcome to Lime Rock Park. Located in the northwest corner of Connecticut, this unassuming little track has garnered a surprisingly passionate following. Its unique aspects create a circuit not only full of character, but consistently challenging even to modern race cars. While it has 4 different possible layouts, on the classic version, only 7 corners are split along a 1.5 mile track with just a single one of them turning left. Though simple in appearance, most drivers will tell you that trying to be fast here is anything but. The run down the front stretch into Big Bend offers pretty much the only viable passing spot, but it's a double apex right-hander which lures drivers into taking it too fast. The uphill is also scary quick considering its lack of runoff and can sometimes cause cars to get airborne over its crest. Then, on the opposite end, the downhill sends cars diving into a quick sweeper, which requires a good exit speed in order to defend or attack back into the first corner. Modern racing mostly uses the more recently built chicanes, especially at the uphill. But one of the most unusual facts about this track is that the races are never held on Sunday. Due to a legal agreement with a nearby church, events must take place on Fridays and Saturdays. The confines around this place are tight, the passing opportunities are few, and mistakes are usually punished with race-ending damage. With most other road courses now being built with upwards of 3 and 4 miles in length, this track stands out. But in an age of multi-million-dollar facilities and flashy buildings, this quaint small circuit manages to keep fans coming back with its intimate and grassroots setting.
Well, that's one of the reasons why Lime Rock Park can be such a technical challenge for a track which looks so simple. But what isn't as simple is how the championship has been going so far. There you can see it, Pablo Espes up on the top on 30 points, but it is a 3-way tie at the top with drop rounds added in. Brandon Hawkin tied on points, as well is Daniel Williams. Daniel Bristow moving up then into 4th position, a very shy character when it comes to the microphone, but his racing does all the talking. And then Cam Eben there in 5th position, just 16 points back. It is not a million miles out of the realms of possibility that racing could be very, very hectic today for 40 minutes of racing action. But there is more to talk about, and it's how the racing is going to go. Michael, you've had a little look at the events format and see how it all lines up today.
Well, this is going to be a 40-minute race, and it's important to consider that there's a limit of the fuel to 3.9 gallons, almost 15 liters. That'll get these guys around 25 minutes through the race. Now, only the top 15 positions score points, but they do have 2 fast repairs, which at this track may come in very handy. And there's also a 20 incident limit. So when they're touching the grass or unfortunately, sometimes another car, they've got 20 points they can play with through this particular event.
And those 20 points are going to be so crucial. Those points down, of course, from 1st all the way down to 15th position are going to be good. But let's get ourselves qualifying, presented by SHH Shifter. As we get ourselves through, SHH Shifter uses only the best commercial plastics to create the high-quality 3D printed shifters you need to give it your all on the track. Their commitment to detail and durability ensures that you receive the perfect shifter. You can find them on the internet at www.shiftershh.com. And we've got ourselves some amazing action going forward. Daniel Bristow currently at the top. Strict scrutiny as well in qualifying is going to be really important to keep in mind here, Michael. It means that these drivers pretty much have to go flat out every lap. The moment they spin, their qualifying's all but done.
And going flat out is exactly what you got to do for the majority of this lap. As we've just discovered, Caleb Hides has just barely nicked Daniel Bristow as we were talking.
Certainly has. 0.03 of a second only. It shows you how much as we go on board with Anthony Burrows here, moving through that final corner. Such a difficult corner to get turned in with the way that the track falls away and levels out as you go on through to that final section. And over the line from Burrows, a 57.6 there in terms of a lap for him as he puts it together on the lap. Kenny Brady as well making a charge through these sections of track. And these drivers as well will be definitely looking at the weather conditions and the time of the race it is, Michael, because we are in, effectively, as Caleb Hides just puts a 57.2 down on the board, we are in evening conditions here, so the fading light could be playing havoc with where you brake today.
As well as the grip on the track as the track is starting to cool, as the air is starting to cool. Oh, as we watch Shane Sullivan have a little bit of an issue taking the runoff road. As I was saying, though, as you are letting the air temperature come down, the track hasn't cooled off yet. So you've still got a hot track, but you got the air is a little more dense at this point. So maybe making that extra 1.5 horsepower, that gets to be exciting as that flows through.
Certainly does, as we focus still on the Georgia kid, Kenny Brady, making that charge. Imagine having a name of Brady in Georgia. That must hurt. Moving through the final corner, making that run up towards the line and trying to get any improvement. 5.70, the best time at the moment for him, and that is a much better time. A 57.499 jumps up to 8th position, and it really does show you how tough a field like this is today. 0.4 of a second right now here, Michael, splitting the top 16. This screams that this is going to be a draft-dependent race.
This track really does lend itself well to draft, and not just down the San Posey Straight. I mean everywhere. Once you get through left-hander and right-hander, it's pretty much a draft fest from there on. You are setting up your turn one pass, which is probably the most likely place to try to pull a pass, but you're setting up that pass all the way back as you're going through uphill.
Absolutely, and we go on board with Pablo Espes, the championship leader, as he gears up for his first of 4 attempts here at a qualifying time. And this is one of the more unique things that a track so short here, Michael, is that you get that opportunity to look and see what drivers do with their opening laps. And if you want to go out there, set your best time, you can leave it as late as, say, 4.5 minutes to go to put your laps in on the board.
It's probably a good idea too, because you do want to let the track try to cool off a little bit. Even 1-2 degrees track surface temperature difference does make a difference. And when you've got your first 10 people at approximately a quarter second, I mean, like you were saying, out to 16th place, 17th place, only 0.4, 18th place, 4.5. This is super tight. This is incredibly tight. So having that extra little bit of a half a horsepower is going to make a huge difference for you here.
Oh, it absolutely is. This is a momentum-based track as well. If you can pick up the right run, get yourself through some of these final couple of corners, you can really get that slingshot effect working. What can car number 28 find? Only a handful of drivers haven't set times, and they include Cam Eben and Brandon Hawkin. That's a 57.5 there from Pablo Espes to start things off then. That's good enough for 10th position at the moment, but how much work as we look at Cam Eben here, just for the little moment here from Club Midwest. How important is it, Michael, to get these tyres up to temperature, especially in these cold conditions? Do you believe that it's going to take 2, maybe 3 laps to get everything that you want and a bit more of the car working in that operating window?
Oh, very much so. The way iRacing has gone through modeling the tires, especially on this car, it's definitely your 3rd lap, in my opinion, that really makes the difference. That's where you have the optimum temperature in your tires. You've got the right feel for the track. You've already made your mistakes that you were going to make. Lap 3 is the one. Lap 4, you might have a little bit too much temperature. And again, with the times this incredibly tight, that if you have to wait till the 4th lap, you're pretty much going to find yourself back in the mid-teens.
Absolutely are, as Espes goes 2nd fastest on the board with a fantastic time. Cam Eben there, his 2nd lap of 5.29, good enough to jump up into 11th position with that, just behind Ryan Busk out there in terms of time. Hawkin is also out there trying to put laps in, so there's only 4 drivers out there at the moment putting in times, and the last of those is Ryan Pandischio, who is out there as well. But Eben on screen right now, making good progress here, and it's a really interesting scenario, especially in the race as you go up towards uphill, because you've effectively got, as it would be said on Amazon Prime, the isn't straight.
Yes, the isn't straight. I've heard a dozen names for that particular straight, but yeah, isn't straight is actually a pretty good one, and kind of a joke among all racers, not just real life, but also in the simulators.
Absolutely, and we are seeing just how important that is. A great lap there by Cam Eben, good enough to jump to 2nd on a 3.11, 11 thousandths clear of Pablo Espes, who has 1 more lap. There is Pandischio out there on track from Club New England. He's down there in 33rd position right now. This is his 3rd lap that he's trying to put together. He's only ahead right now of 1 driver who hasn't taken to qualifying, Jaume Dalmases, and then Eli E.A. Andujar out there, and it's a 58.2, which is good enough to jump 1 more position just behind Sam Smith. But this might be the sort of track where being towards the back isn't necessarily the end of the world today here, Michael.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting as they go into turn 1, turn 1-2 as it's known. So that tends to pinch everybody down. You've got a fairly wide track going down San Posi Straight, and then you've got a beautiful runoff, but it's lap 1, and you're ready to get out front and start really pushing it. But man, as it closes down on you, it gets to be pretty exciting when you are mirror to mirror with the guy next to you and just hoping that they see you.
Espes slaps are done. He can go no better than third. We're on board with the Canadian Brandon Hawkin here, who's tied on points in the championship, trying to get as much through the left-hander and gear up this fourth turn out on track. You've got to get on the power as early as possible here. Try and watch for any understeer and then back on this rise then towards uphill. Funny thing as well about this track, how important is it going to be today to manage one side of the tyres compared to the other? There's only one left-hander on the entire course.
If we watch everybody during the pit stops, it'll be interesting to see if they've got enough tire wear and enough time to go ahead and change just the left side tires. It's a common thing to do here, but with as tight as these pit stops are going to be, I'm not certain we're going to see that. I did watch people absolutely nailing their entry coming out of the downhill into the pit, just screaming, lighting up their brakes, trying to get it slowed down in time for the cone, just trying to absolutely maximize every little bit of time they have on the pit lane.
Absolutely. Wonderful work there being done in qualifying. Everybody is done, so we'll be able to take you to the Butt Kicker starting grid. Butt Kicker products are silent subwoofers that deliver powerful bass through your couch or chair so that you can feel the crashes, racing engines, and special effects in your movies and games. Butt Kicker transducers are virtually indestructible and maintenance-free with thousands of units currently in service. Check them out at thebuttkicker.com. And what a qualifying we found ourselves then with here today. Everything to play for, but it is Caleb Hyde, the Australian, who puts it up on pole position ahead of Cam Eben in second, with Pablo Espes in third and Daniel Bristow starting off in fourth position. Jarrett Libert will start then from fifth, with Shane Sullivan in sixth. Brandon Hawkin back there in seventh has Jordan Backmeyer for company, with Bartolomé Kedzia and Dave Chapman rounding out the top 10.
In our next group of 10, we've got Kenny Brady in 11th place, followed by Ryan Busk close behind. Austin Johnson with Pavel Simonek, Thomas Schmidt, Anthony Burrows, Yanhui Lin, Adam Mariak, Lee Martin, and rounding out the top 20 is Dominic Plona.
Very nice to see Yuan Jilin out there racing here and giving himself a good run. Ari Hado will start from 21st along with Tyler Gary there, with Austin Smith and Paolo Miranda on the 12th row. That follows Caden Rush and Thomas Geisler there in 26th, along with Nick Carty and Pavel Pavluk there in 28th position. Neil Senkovsky maybe a little bit out of position in 29th, with Matthew Barkhouse there in 30th. And we'll just run through the final 5 names out there on the grid, which will include the likes of Sam Smith, Ryan Pandiskio is out there. You've got Shaboch Prem, Eli Andujar is out there, and not setting a time in the number 32 is Jaume Dalmases, who is looking in the number 32 like he will not be taking to the racing here today from Lime Rock Park. So 34 drivers then around a track where they've got 40 minutes worth of racing, and we expect it to be close quarters from now all the way to the very end. We watch out for that run, of course, in towards turn number 1, and of course we thank all of you for coming and joining along with us for the ride here with the Global Sim Racing Channel. Anything is possible when it comes to racing like this, and the championship with a 3-way tie up at the top could mean absolutely everything here in terms of this battle. So we're going to bring ourselves into play in the next couple of moments. We're about 15 seconds here from the start then of our racing. All drivers have 2 minutes to grid up, or they can choose to start from pit lane, whichever they find themselves to be easier in terms of this run. But they all know that they are under the signal of Barney the Flagman as we get ourselves ready then. Lime Rock Park is the name, is the place, and there's the green flag, and we are underway. Shocker off the front from Cam Eben. He has to immediately fall into line then as they already make that run towards turn number 1. Watch out for the drive then. 2 away already as they funnel on through, single file through the first about 6 or 7 positions there. But Bartolomei Kechia trying to get a move done then on Jordan Backmeyer back there in about 7th, 8th position. But a nice clean start as they go through. Bit of contact in the middle as they charge forward. But pretty much a clean start. Exactly what we want to see as the headlights come on here at Lime Rock.
A little bit of two-wide action in the midfield as they try to make their way around the right-hander coming down the no-name straight. And looking towards the uphill, it's going to be an interesting run down to see who can actually make it happen by the end of turn 1.
And they've got so much power in these little MX-5. They're actually getting air over the jump, which is really interesting to see. Starting to box up then, and packs starting to form as they look to try and work out. The train goes all the way back to Backmar. Look at them off in the grass as they try and get as much as they can. Kenny Brady as well is off there in the background. We go on board with the driver in 9th place. They make the run towards turn number 1 and 2 once again. The Big Ben, and they're not quite going to be there at the moment. Caleb Hydes with the lead. It's Evan in 2nd, Espes 3rd, Daniel Bristow there in 4th position. And just look how feisty this train is looking to be. Small gap back to Shane Sullivan there in 5th, but a small gap here of 2/10 will feel like an eternity somewhere else.
And 2/10 at this track really isn't that much. We were talking earlier about how the draft really plays a difference here. The draft starts right here. As you're coming up the hill, this is the point. You're trying to make that setup for turn 1 pass, maybe a turn 2 pass if you're coming out of the Big Bend. But this is the spot, because now watch them coming down the hill, trying to make that run towards the start-finish line. Can he stay ahead? Is it Hyde's idea to be there for the whole race? Is Cam Evan going to try to make a run as they come down into turn 1?
Well, that's the main place you're going to get it done, but there's a lot of strategy there. And look at this. They're fanning out here on the run towards turn number 1. Who's that trying to dive down the inside? I think that's Shimanek trying to get a move done. So go on board with Adam Mariak here as he tries to go through. Shimanek gets through on Anthony Burrows, I believe. And look at this as they start forming. This is from the back of Bartolomei Kiedsza out there on track. And this is a really important scrap as they go through the midsection. It's so easy to check yourself up through here.
Yeah, we go on board now with Thomas Schmidt with a nice catbird seat here as he gets ready to go up the hill. At this point, I think everyone's trying to find the groove, get into the groove, figure out which pack they're going to be in, and then plan the race from there. We're still a pit stop away. We're only 5 minutes or so into this race. There's a lot of time to do something.
There certainly is, and it's also worth talking about that very secret S word that we often get used around in these broadcasts, and that's strategy, Michael. How important is it going to be as Cam Evan lights up the timing screen purple? How important is it going to be just to stay calm, stay behind, and save those fuel and tires?
Well, we've seen in this series time and time again how fuel plays a huge part. Some guys are shorting the fuel a little bit, expecting they're going to be 3rd, 4th in the pack and just sit in that draft, not having to burn quite as much fuel. Or the guy way out front who's trying to make it happen suddenly finds, oh, I'm going to have to fuel save for the next 3 laps. So fuel is going to be a big player here.
Certainly is, and there's traffic in front then as we go on board with Cam Evan. That is Caden Rush, who has come out of the pits. There's another driver in the pits right now with damage. That's Shabot Prem, who has come in early. So there's Caden Rush's view, and I tell you what, I don't envy him right now, Michael. If you had a hungry train of 9 cars fighting for the race victory or the race lead behind you, and you've got to let all of them through safely, I wouldn't want to be there.
Oh, definitely not. You do not want to be that person. However, I think Caleb Hydes might be appreciating a little bit of a chance to get a draft or something coming out of this, or maybe even a pick, a block. It could be helpful to him.
Certainly could. He's not getting everything his own way right now. Evan is there, still putting the pressure on, and that's all you need to do sometimes in events like these. Just keep that needling pressure. All pressure is internalized, but if you keep the car close, you've got a chance. And a great run on the uphill there. Great application of the power, and had to think about it. And yet, abandoned. I will take the natural line and get well out of the way of everyone. That was a wise decision there by the traffic. And as they descend down the hill, Pablo Espes now starting to get into the mix here and might start thinking about it. Great runs from all of them here. Will we see a move, or will we see? Yes, we do see bump drafting on the front stretch, on the Sam Posey, going to 1 and 2. We've got every tactic out there in the book right now.
I think Cam at this point is saying, hey, Caleb, let's see if we can get a little push away from these guys. Let's get ahead, try to make something, let those guys fight. We'll battle it out after we go through our pit stop rotation, but I want to get away because personally, I would not want Pablo Espes on my tail because he's a really good fighter when it comes time to race.
Absolutely, and we are seeing here that these early exchanges are very much like scuffles in a chess match, really. Not really seeing too much go on out there on the circuit where there hasn't really been a dramatic gain or a dramatic loss through the field. The biggest loss inside the top 20 is a loss of 7 for Ryan Busk. That's not really much at all in the grand concept. Gain-wise, maybe a +2 for Kenny Brady, a +2 for Austin Johnson. Haven't really seen too many gains either. We go on board with Brandon Hawkin back there in 6th position behind Shane Sullivan, who clearly by his backdrop has no teardrops on his guitar as he starts to drive on forward and continue on his race. But the key here, as we look from Shane Sullivan and the guitar in the background there, he'll be looking behind and hoping that he doesn't have to worry about a car looking to go down his inside. The moment that you try and make a move here in a pack like this, Michael, would you say that the moment you start fighting too wide, you either got to get it done now or forget fighting for the cars in front?
Yeah, going too wide is going to be the death knell for this. If you try to do that, you're really going to end your race. Not just by possibly having contact and getting spun out, but because every little, as we were looking at the beginning and through qualifying, it was 0.4 of a second back to almost 20th place. You absolutely have to have every millimeter of this track in use. If you have a car in the way, that's going to kill your ability to get through this.
Absolutely, you were seeing a couple of cars run off. One of them was Sullivan. Here comes Hawking down the inside. He comfortably gets there. Will Jarrett Lebert do exactly the same? Trying to get it done at turn 2. He's going to be on the wrong side of the road here. He's got to be careful he doesn't get freight train here from Jordan Bachmeier. Trying to get down the inside as we see once again here, Bachmeier trying to get it done around the outside. He's not going to find it. He'll have to slot back into line. It does bring a Brady on the back of this group as well, as you can see them here. And it is just slowly starting to string out this train ever so slightly. They've got to be careful of that as this go. And actually, I'd say as well right now here, Michael, if you look at Dave Chapman and Austin Johnson, they've just been putting quiet laps together and they're not a million miles away from this group.
Yeah, they don't need to, they just need to bide their time right now. We had Bachmeier right after we cut away, who just started to do a little bit of a bump draft because he knows, okay, we wasted a little time there, but let's get caught back up. Okay, let's get in there. Let's make hay while the sun shines, as I like to say.
Absolutely, and making hay while the sun shines is certainly the apt way to go as he's in the 2 weeks car, the fortnight car, as he looks to try and get himself pushing forward. This battle for the lead, though, you can see it there on the right-hand side, bottom right of your screen. Absolutely stacked, about 2/10 behind absolutely everyone out there on circuit, and they are really, really flying. There has been a bit of an incident in the back, though. 3 cars are in the pits. Pavlik, Geisler, and Pandischio all out of the race. We haven't been able to catch that at the moment, but a lot of drivers getting in trouble at the back.
We've got a lot of action at the front, a lot of action at the back, but let's take a look at what happened back there as we go into, looks like he's coming up the hill. Here's Pandischio. Oh my God, that hurts even in the simulator. That's just a rough one. Oh, as he just clips him a little bit too much on the inside, and then terrible position, nothing he could do. It's absolutely blind.
I mean, I was watching the race at Jeddah. They got blind corners, not quite like this though. Pandischio, he sees it all happen in front of him, and you just got to pick a lane at that point and hope. And I think he was hoping that the 23, oh, it continued as well. It continued as well. Disastrous then as they went through. Let's see how the 88 handled it going up. This was Eli Andujar, who just finds himself there. You get so panicked, Michael, don't you? When you get involved in an incident, you've got to get yourself back up to speed. He thought he was safe, wasn't looking down at the black box relative, which is a very handy tool here in iRacing, and ultimately, wabam, there's more accident.
Yeah, he knows the yellow's there. He's just trying to find what hole is there that I can get through. And unfortunately, the car re-entering the track, kind of bad positioning, bad timing, hard to say, but it's heartbreaking when you find yourself, oh, there's my hole, I'm gonna slip through, and then bam, it's closed.
Absolutely, and I tell you what, this pack right now looks very, very Peloton-esque as they charge forward. You've got the workhorse at the front, in Caleb Hines effectively doing a job, say, like a Mauri von Sevenant would do for the Koenig Quickstep, as he looks to try and run through in towards turn number 4 and make that charge and keep this race going. But he knows that at some point he's going to have to look behind, maybe drop into second, save some fuel, or he'll just be backing up that pack more and more, who are desperately trying to push him forward. We look back to Jarrett Lebert here from Club Northwest in 7th position, as he's just been quietly sitting. Lost 2 off the start, but again, this might be the sort of track where if you pit a lap earlier, you might get that advantage. The one disadvantage I'd see here, Michael, about pitting early is you need someone to tango with out there.
But the point you make is, if you can make that early pit and come out into a train that's behind you, if you just look at that shot we just had there, we've got our leader, Hides, going into turn 1, and the tail end of that whole train was just coming through the final corner. So there's a chance you could get in, get some fuel, get back out, and then hopefully have a little bit of something to grab onto, a little rabbit out in front of you, putting a hole in the air that you can slice into and make up some time, and hopefully get yourself further ahead. I think last race we were watching Espes do exactly that.
Absolutely, and that definitely helped Espes on his way moving forward. But I tell you what is interesting right now, as they crossed the line, the top 21 drivers were split by 9 seconds on the road as they run through the final corner. This beautiful shot showing you just what evening conditions are like here at Lime Rocks. We got a little bit of a look for position then, side by side, and that is Daniel Bristow then trying to get the pass done on Espes, trying to go around the outside, as we see all of the field now as they run on through, and just how important it is. It's going on now as this suddenly brings Brandon Hawkin wanting to try and get around the outside, but Bristow having absolutely none of it in the 12. He holds on to position quite nicely, but really a race where that's an important little bit of a hold for Pablo Espes, and he crucially didn't lose time in that fight.
And this may be Hawkin playing a little bit of a mind game here. He's thinking, I've got to get inside his head. I need to make some ground here. He's kind of in my way, but he's kind of helping me out. So what do I do? As we look at Shane Sullivan, probably trying to do the same thing. Watch as we come down the hill here. I wish we had a little more light on his camera so we could see how he's shifting his eyes around, looking for the hole, looking for where he can slot his car in. Gets good speed down the straightaway, but everybody's in the draft trying to get down there. Oh, probably not going to be able to make it into turn 1, but nice braking, little bit of a ride on the curb as we get in. Notice how he just tightens it up just a little bit, looking to find that little advantage anywhere he can find it.
Absolutely, and just on the back of that train, actually, Kenny Brady got through on Jordan Backmeyer, so there has been a change in this group. But as we look from behind, going through 4 onto the no-name straight, this is such a crucial point of the lap. If you can keep yourself in position, get that run through uphill, it's about how much you can really hold the throttle and keep yourself going forward here. The car's going to get squirrely and light as you get a little bit of air, and it's that application of the tyres back onto those contact patches. We look from the back of Paulo Miranda's view. He's in 26th position, last car on the leading lap, and he will soon see down the straight with Shavok Pol and Thomas Geisler, as well as Pandiskio. But outside of that will be the train trying to push. And again, bumping on that front stretch there is going to be Cam Evan. Here comes the move again from Bristow, looking to the inside, on-board view from Brandon Hawkins' perspective here. And I tell you what, Bristow's trying everything to get that car working, and he's managed to just be able to lose out then almost in terms of that position. He'll have himself eyes on Hawkin, trying to go around the outside, but he doesn't find room. Door firmly slammed shut again.
Hawkin also trying to make a look there, just playing around. I think right now it's not so much about making the pass, it's about making the impression in their head. What's going on inside my cockpit that's going to put me in front of you? So this is a little mind game at this point, and I think they're having a good time playing around with each other. These guys have been racing with each other for quite a while now. They know what everybody's going to do. As we look back at the battle for 10th, also another amazingly tight battle going on.
Oh, well off into the grass there. About 5 back, 4 back in the train. So very nearly fighting troubles. Here comes a look down the inside. That is going to be on Pavel Shimanek there. trying to get it sorted. That's Anthony Burrows trying to, by name, burrow away through and steal a position. And by goodness, he's managed to do that. Now, we have had a driver come into the pits because they've had a penalty, and it was Dominic Plona who's come in for a penalty that was administered by the stewarding team here for avoidable contact with car number 30 out there on track, which was Yuan Lin.
As we watch this pack try to make their way through, they're very clearly defined in their second. Now let's come back up and take a look at Pablo Espez. He's looking at the back end of Cam Eben thinking, it's about time. I need to start putting some pressure on here. I need to get up here. We have some back markers in front of us. It's time to get up there and really start getting inside his head, make him think twice, 3 times, 4 times before he does something, and hopefully force a mistake. Oh, is looking right there. Oh, it looks like Cam's trying to do the same thing, maybe ignoring Pablo behind him, trying to make an impression on Caleb.
Caleb Hyde knows all about this sort of pressure in terms of his Australasian roots. He races against some of the best on that continent with the likes of Sonny Kanchin, for example. He has raced up against before. So Caleb Hyde knows what it takes to be quick, and he's the sort of driver out there, Michael, who just loves to race anything and everything he can get his hands on. He's the sort of driver who just goes, and he's quick in pretty much anything he sets his mind to.
Yeah, Caleb has been fun to watch. He's very talented. He knows how to work with traffic. He knows to work with pit stops. He's been really, really good, absolutely on point. If his driving is as good in real life as it is here in the sim, I'd love to see him driving in IMSA, driving in World Challenge.
Absolutely, I'd love to see him having a go at that sort of realm, but he gets right up underneath this Cam Eben just behind. That's Shabok's Prem's view, and that's what he's got to be dealing with behind. A 9-car train going back to Bachmeier, and the focus is there. Now, a little mistake actually on the back of that train. Brady will slip through Jarrett Libert, who knows he doesn't want to lose the contact with the group, and all of a sudden, he finds himself about a half a second back now off of Bachmeier, so a mistake there for Jarrett Libert. And all of a sudden, he finds himself almost being dropped.
I'm wondering if he got maybe a course cut penalty and had to bleed some time off. That's a likely idea that happened there, but let's take a look back here as we're looking at Pablo Espez once again coming around that final corner, just bouncing off that curb, trying to do a little groundskeeper maintenance on the exit of the corner, heading down towards start-finish.
Absolutely, and I'm pretty sure there's going to be no grass left as everyone starts mowing. Here comes a look from Bristow to the outside, trying to get himself back into position once more, unable to find it. And it has been a really well-disciplined race here for the first 18 minutes that we've had going out here, Michael. At what point do the gloves come off?
I think we're seeing it right now. It looks like everybody's not just testing the water, they're trying to put more than a foot. They're trying to put a whole leg, maybe even their torso into the water at this point. It's time to really make something happen, put that pressure on the guy in front of you and get away from him.
Absolutely, and you're seeing here as Hydes and Eben look to continue to try and make that challenge. It's going to be all about how you get through, and they check up here through the final corner, a bit of contact, and Eben says, I've had enough of this, I'm going to be the first to dive down in. This now leads in with Espes and Bristow side by side, a smart decision to dive down in and make that stop just before they deal with the traffic, and a little bit too deep from Espes, but unable to capitalize there really is Bristow, who did get a little bit of a tap from behind from Hawking, that pushes him a little bit wide through 2, and Shane Sullivan with the perfect seat in the house as they scrabble about through 1 and 2.
If I want to be anywhere, I want to be right here with Shane or with Brendan Hawking. Oh boy, that's woo. Talk about missing a little, missing a heartbeat on that one as we watch him go through the uphill. Just trying to hang on to the back of Brendan Hawking, going through here. Oh, this is going to be interesting to see who now decides to take Cam's lead and follow him into the pits 1 lap late.
He sawed at that wheel like a lumberjack as he tried to get himself through, and he maintained control. And into the pits will come Hyde, and Hyde will be followed in by Brandon Hawkin and Jordan Bachmeier. Now, this is a really awkward pit entry because that commitment cone, Michael, is so early off of the cones.
Yeah, and I can tell you from real life, it's not any different. As you're coming as fast as you can around the final corner and you dive into there, you are practically melting your brake rotors to get into the pits without getting a speeding penalty. As we see, somebody's actually going up, getting left side tires. That's going to be an interesting play. And here we go. Also, number 25 looking at some left side tires. Who else is going to get them? Are any of the leaders pulling them? It looks like, is that Brandon Hawken that was back there getting tires?
Yeah, definitely looked like it. It's a great scrap off the pits here. They're side by side, and Evan's going to get around all of them here. So we didn't quite catch it there on cameras, but Evans got himself ahead here of Hydes and Hawken. And we'll catch on the Global SimRacing Channel replay. What an important battle. So Evan will come out to the final corner, and they were scrapping here, Michael, coming off the lane. It was Brandon Hawken trying to get around Caleb Hydes. Hydes just now has gone off the road, and Hawken's going to get the position anyway. But the key here is you can see right now, they're too wide coming out of the pits.
I didn't know that you could fit two people under the line there, but I guess if you're using a little bit of the grass, it's possible as well.
It absolutely is, and what an important battle that is, because they're losing ground, and pretty much everybody now diving in. Sullivan's in, Bristow's in. Everybody has decided we can't sit about and wait any longer. We're coming in at the halfway stage, making the stop. Shane Sullivan with a great pit stop there, and he'll join with Brady here to get back out and just ahead of that group. So crucially, it's Evan who's away, and Brady leaning on the door. Bit of contact there with Hawken, trying to get it through. Oh, they're going to come together. Sullivan's coming around too. That's what cold tires can do.
Oh, as we watch Shane Sullivan here try to make his way through the grass, get back on without disturbing anybody else. He's sliding right in back behind Hawken again as we go to the GSRC replay.
Oh, they were all just joined together. It's nothing that Sullivan could do about it. He had 2 or 3 taps. You look at this here. There's the look. Brady down the inside, leaning on the back, which means you have to open the steering if you're the car in the 99 machine. And just like that, that's how quickly it goes. And at that point, it's no after you, sir. No after you.
Yeah, it's you have to start to play together nicely. This goes back to kindergarten. Plays well with others. And I can tell you from experience personally, you kind of forget those kindergarten lessons from time to time.
You absolutely do. A couple drivers here have stayed out so far. Pablo Espes is one of them. Jarrett Lieber is the other, who is of the leading group, who haven't yet come in and made a stop. Now, is that an advantage here that they're not fighting in this very, very aggressive pack with Hydes and Bachmeier and all of that group that's trying to keep themselves in play?
So I've got an eye here on my screens, being able to see a few other things, and I'm watching Pablo Espes, and he's got clear track all around him. He's absolutely burning up the track, just flying as fast as he can, but he's also a bit of a fuel-saving master, being able to run these very high speeds, but not use the fuel that everyone else is using. Now with these guys battling like just hammer and tongs all through this, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out as we look at the lap comparison. Last lap, Evan is about a half a second up, last 2 laps even.
Yeah, and that time another 0.3 of a second. So Cam Evan really starting to put the pedal to the metal. He knows he wants to make a gap. He knows that they've all been fighting around, and he might get a really, really good element of it at this point in time. So at the moment, Cam Evan trying to get as much as he possibly can out of this one. Now, there are 2 strategies here in terms of how you go out there and you make strategy work in the series. You either pit at halfway. So look at Ari Haro here, the Finnish driver in 15th position. He's on the back of a really, really aggressive train at the moment. So he's trying to go through at this point and get himself into play. Everybody here at this moment is trying to get themselves up and available and into running as they crest the rise and head towards this West Bend, the battle for 12th position at the moment.
As we watch him come down to the final corner right now, we're on board with Brandon Hawken, trying to just get a little bit of an extra push out of here. Oh, this is going to be tight as he runs past Kezia. Oh, but Kezia comes out also trying to either block or pass. I'm not sure what he was doing here. Probably a block, looks like it, as Hawken looks to go around the outside. This is going to be exciting. Can he hold on to it? Oh, this is going to be really tight as they touch mirrors, I think. Yes.
Oh, Bartolomé did as much as possible, but Brandon Hawkin was having none of that. That was a wonderful bit of overtaking. They'll have Dave Chapman, who's a lap down, as the next car in front. So some brilliant battling we are seeing here at this point in time. Espes and Liebherr are both in the pits at this point in time, so they're getting their stop, and they'll be looking to get themselves off and away again. There was speeding as well in pit lane for Daniel Bristow. That's why he's a lap down now in this field. And in terms of where Espes has come out in comparison, he is not a million miles away from Cam Eben. He's net second.
Net second, but right now, currently first and second place, and in the actual second place is Neil Simkowski. It's not an unusual place for him to be. He just won a race the other day in the Formula V series, if you guys were watching on GSRC, and I think he likes being up here. It'll be interesting to see if he's able to keep this fuel save run going and turn it into something like a win, just like he did the other day.
Well, he'll be definitely hoping for that in the Vendaval Sim Racing car, a team which has a lot of legacy and history, has won many of the endurance events out there in iRacing and have been so close many times. Bachmeier then running off the road. They'd all got through on that last lap going through ahead of Jarrett Liebert there, and that was crucial, Michael, because I think Jarrett here is trying desperately to play a fuel save game as he runs off the road in the background.
Yeah, everybody needs to be chill for a little bit. It's just like being back at the beginning of the race. If you go too hard when you first come out of the pits, you're going to mess up. You're going to really make a mistake. You are off your timing because you had that pit stop. You got to get back into the timing, get back into the field, and then when you've got it once again locked in like a Swiss watch, then it's time to go again. But if you try too soon, springs are flying everywhere out of that watch.
Absolutely, as we watch Bartolomei trying to keep himself in play with Brandon Hawkin. Remember, Hawkin really, really well at this moment in the championship. This might have to be one of those drop rounds that we talk about. And how different is it racing a championship that's straight up, for example, really when it comes to racing, Michael, compared to one where you've got drop rounds? Do you feel that maybe if a day's not going your way, that you've got more opportunities later on down the road?
Oh, absolutely. There are times I wish we had those in IMSA and in World Challenge where, yeah, that was not my best week, or I got a cut tire, or something didn't go my way, terrible qualifying, whatever. Yeah, there are definitely times I wished I could have had that drop week. And it plays to an interesting strategy as you look down the road, too. You can think about, oh, I'm going to make this pass. It might take me out, but that's okay. It could be a drop week. So I kind of feel both sides of that.
Absolutely. You can be on the right side or the wrong side of this. Look at that run behind there of one Kenny Brady. Bachmeier trying to get up into fourth position. The field completely run through in terms of pit stops. Eben with a 3.1 second lead at this point in time over Pablo Espes out there on circuit, but it is Bachmeier and Brady the fight for fourth and fifth. And I think this is where you've got to start saying you may be losing the back of Caleb Hydes if you're not too careful. Either you've got to make the move or you've got to hope. Jared Liebert there with the fastest lap of the race, a 57.231.
Oh, as he comes in just a little bit late on his braking, it feels a little similar to what we were watching in the Formula One race, if you watched that earlier today. Get a little bit too deep into that first corner.
I've just seen Paulo Miranda get a little bit out of shape through 1 and 2 as well. So a lot of drivers finding themselves in their own battles as we focus on Jarrett Liebert at this point in time, trying every which way as he climbs up the hill, uphill. They're already on their 29th lap of the race, going on to start lap 30 the next time they pass the stripe. And this really does have that oval-style feel to it. Yes, you've got that left-hander that breaks the monotony, but you're going through all of these right-hand corners. Sometimes it takes a lot of concentration to keep yourself hitting the same marks on what is a lot of laps.
Yeah, sometimes we call this the reverse NASCAR because it's going in the opposite direction, and there is that one turn to break it up, but you spend so much time really making this car turn right. Now, they don't have that option here. This is a fixed setup series, as we see Jarrett Liebert pulling in the fastest lap so far. Is he going to make a run with this? Is he going to be able to capitalize on that and get a little bit farther up? He's sitting in 6th place right now behind Bachmeier.
Yeah, it's back-to-back fast slaps there for Liebert as he lost those positions initially. I think he's happy just to stay on the back, and he's had to work hard to get there, and that should be crucial between now and the end of this race. He will want to be in position, make sure his fuel's good, then he'll go out there, try and strike and attack. There is Eben, who leads this field and is doing a great job, and Espes here is closing that gap down. Took 0.2, quarter of a second out that last time by. We'll see what the gap is as they cross the line. It was 2.8, it's now 2.6. They're closing, but I don't think they're closing quick enough with 10 minutes to go.
Well, I wouldn't put anything beyond Pablo's ability. He's very... Oh, as we watch somebody go around into the wall. Hard hit.
Oh, disastrous. Not what you wanted to see at all there. It's as quick and as simple as that here at Lime Rock Park. You make one small change or adjustment and the car will go flying about. Let's have another look at this one then. On this front stretch, coming down that final corner and onto that front section. You can see here, it's just coming out of the pits here in towards this opening section. I'm not sure where it is. Here it is. You're going through. This will be Pavel Pavluk in all sorts of trouble here as he comes out of 2, and he just gets caught out with Evan trying to get by then, and he effectively gets dumped.
I'm wondering if he was trying to be helpful and stay out of the way. Notice he holds a little bit too long on the left side here at the track out as Eben comes up, expecting him to take the right side, and expecting him to stay on line, and Eben makes the run like he's expecting him to do exactly what he did every other time. This is something we do in coaching. This is something we do every time any of these type of incidents come up. You've got to stay on line. You have to be predictable all the time.
I'm not sure how much damage Cam Eben would have from that. The gap's come down to 1.5 seconds, and if he's got damage on the front grille, for example, he could be in a world of hurt out there on track. It looks like one of his front wheels is exposed, so it has damaged up, I believe, the front right of his grille. It'll be the front left as you see it on screen. But crucially here for Cam Eben, if he's walking wounded towards the end of this race, that one miscommunication with the traffic today might have just cost him a victory.
Could be, as we watch him come down towards the start finish right now, crossing, and it looks like last lap he pulled a 57.8. Espes behind him, half a second faster, 57.3.
Beautiful, half a second right now when it's needed. And Espes, give him some credit right now. He's managed to get the gap up to a second. Traffic of Ryan Busk gets out of the way of both of them as they go through. I wouldn't want to beat Ryan Busk right now. That train could so easily form up again if Cam Eben decides he wants to be defensive.
This is really a short track. I mean, notice the lap times. We're under a minute for lap times. You come back around on these back markers very quickly, especially if they are injured, if they've got damage to the car. But if you've got it just right, like Cam Eben seems to do here, I think Cam, as a defensive driver, can probably make something happen here, but it's going to be a Herculean effort as we watch him come through past the start-finish line, defending a little bit to the right side, now resetting up to the left as they come into the braking zone. Pablo Espes using every millimeter of track to try to get into braking, coming right up on the tail of Cam Eben.
If a Miata could have DRS, that would be the feeling Cam Eben's experiencing right now. He has got Pablo Espes all over him at this point in time, running through onto the no-name straight and moving towards that uphill corner. This is such a crucial point of time for Pablo Espes. If he can't get this one done now, he's going to be in so much trouble when Caleb Hyde and co get up there. He's got another chance here towards West Bend if he wants to lunge for the inside, but he'll wait for it at the moment, takes a more aggressive line over that curb, and they are very inviting curbs here in Lakeville, Connecticut, to go and make that charge down the hill. This is where he'll have the advantage. Out of the final corner. What can you do if you Cam Eben? This is rear mirror driving at its finest, and he will know, I am not sure I have enough going into turn number 1. It's half a car length almost, so they get that turn in, and they'll fight all the way here to 2.
Yeah, just 6.5 minutes left. We're not looking at much more time for Pablo to make something happen, as he finally, getting into the left-hander, is able to just pull ahead of Cam Eben. Is Cam going to be able to hold on to a podium position here? He's in P2 right now, but the train of Hides, Brady, and Bachmeyer coming up behind him. I do not envy Cam at this point.
I tell you what, this might not actually be the end of the world as we go on board with Kenny Brady, thinking there's a podium in the offing here in 4th position, because if he can just sit underneath that toe, surely that ability to gain in the slipstream will mitigate some of the damages that he'd have and the natural loss he'd have in terms of engine power.
As we saw, they were coming down the straight. Cam went to the right side, and he didn't defend too hard. I think he actually wanted Espes to be right there, but we watch Espes defend. I don't think he needs to do that. I think he just needs to work with Cam. Understand that Cam has an issue right now. He doesn't have that straight line speed. Cam playing it smart, though, not having the extra distance by following him, because it's kind of 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Stay in position, stay where you need to be, and you're going to get there just in time as Cam is trying to hold on and get a little bit of a toe as he can around this track.
I will also say, dark blue car in night conditions, it does a very good job of masking the damage on that front right. So it might be that Pablo Espes doesn't really know or understand what's going on right now with car 55 and Cam Eben. Kenny Brady in the 2 weeks machine, trying to make his charge here through the right and get himself as much, and he goes off the road as he tries to search for every little bit of grip he can to stay with Caleb Hyde, the Australian there, in 3rd position. Bachmeier is there, Liebert's there as well, and they're going to be sitting hoping that someone just runs out and makes a mistake. Gap half a second at the front, 4.5 minutes then. It's going to be chalked up onto the clock, and you feel for Cam Eben here. He's got to get it within about 0.2 of a second if he wants to go and make a legitimate fight for the victory. Hyde is doing a great job. He's got the gap down to 0.7, and it's now a 6-car fight for 3 spots on the podium.
Yeah, looking here from Bachmeier's car back up onto the Fortnite car, number 54 of Kenny Brady. Kenny's doing a great job. He's actually got a fastest lap than Caleb Hyde's in front of him, but that's probably due to some very smart drafting as we watch them go through the uphill, trying to set up. I think we're going to watch some attempts now with only just under 4 minutes left. It's time to start making some passes and getting into that final position you want to be for the last lap.
Absolutely. There's no traffic in front of them. It will be a straight shootout here from now to the end of this race. On board then with Jarrett Liebert as he looks to try and get himself as close as possible here to Jordan Bachmeier, moving through 1 and 2 once again. And this is really a track where maybe you need to try and set up that move, Michael, 1 or 2 laps in advance, which means that they're trying to set up moves now.
Yeah, right now is the point to be setting this up as we watch Cam Eben just falling back and back and back. It's now 3/4 of a second behind. Eben's got a massive fight about to come up right behind him with Hyde's pressing down, trying to make that last 1 lap move on him.
Absolutely. That could be so crucial as we look on board with Caleb Hyde as we almost take a driver's eyes perspective here, making that run down the hill. He's actually got tyres in the grass. He's trying to maximize as much turn out of the final corner as he can to gain that run, and immediately hard to the inside will go Cam Eben here, trying to defend this place. Can they get that looking towards turn number 1? Not going to happen for the moment, but behind that, right at the back, is a move, and that is going to be Liebert getting past Bachmeier.
Oh, good move from Liebert on Bachmeier. Is it going to be returned, though? This is the time in the race, just as you were mentioning. We've only got 2:20 left in this race. It's time to start setting yourself up for the position. Are you going to make it to the podium, or are you going to just miss it by that 1 spot? We got Kenny Brady right now in 4th place with Liebert behind him, and Bachmeier, making a move up the uphill.
Oh, here we go, 2 wide, give it all you got. Hyde is going to lose the run here on the outside. He's just shuts the door on Kenny Brady, who needs some 4th quarter magic here to get himself back through and leave himself enough time down the hill and through the right and trying to get himself as much run onto the Sam Posey straight. Again, Evan's going to go defensive. No drop wanted here by Hyde. He feels he's got enough. Brady's going to be there. We could be 3 wide with what is effectively 2 laps to go here at Librock Park. It's going to be again Evan holding with the damaged car on the front, but Hyde running around the outside, trying to take this position away here on the inside of the left-hander, and he will pick it up.
And Kenny Brady trying to do the same thing, does get around him. Can he hold it as we go through the right-hander?
Oh, what a move.
This is nice. This is some fantastic racing. Absolutely what we expect from this league.
Absolutely. Brady onto the podium. Liebert now will try and figure it out, but what a run up the hill. Nose to tail. Brady and Evan as they try and figure it out, as they go through in towards then that west bend, and they'll descend down the hill for what will be the penultimate time. The victory, barring a mistake, will be out of their hands at this point in time. Pablo Espes has driven a fantastic race, but this will be, without a shadow of a doubt, the final lap here of this one. Liebert giving a push then to Cam Evan, as it will be now Bachmeier trying to find a way through down the inside at turn number 1. And you know what here? He's just about managed it.
Looks like Bachmeier's gotten around Liebert. He's now got Cam Evan in his sights. Can he do this? Remember, Evan still has that damage. It's not an automatic fix here. He would have to pit. Not a good thing to do. Not enough time as we go on board with Jarrett Liebert here looking ahead, thinking, oh, I've got to make it happen right now. This has got to be the point. He's going to look for the pass as he comes out of the uphill. Hopefully gets a little bit wiggly. Wow, that was a little bit crazy going up through there. Do you make the pass now or do you wait? It's hard to say. It's hard to say.
You're running out of time, though, because the clock is going to expire. And down the hill and through the final corner, breaking away. A little bit of fortune with the traffic, but that won't matter for car 28. Pablo Espes will come to the line and take the victory at Lime Rock Park. Hines will hold off Kenny Brady for the podium. Can Cam Evan find himself any luck? A victory taken away, and it will be 4th position only as he crosses the start-finish line. Such an incredible race that we found ourselves with here today, and it was drama from minute 1 to minute last.
Yeah, we're used to seeing drama and really good racing in this group. That was just a breathtaking finish as they came across. Pablo Espes doing what he does, got out. He really made a wonderful use of his fuel. I tell people all the time, racing is not about speed. Racing is about efficiency. And he used his tires, he used his fuel, and he used his hem as best as he possibly could. Starting from 3rd position, great qualifying. As we saw, it was super tight all through qualifying, but starting from 3rd place brings it on home for the finish in 1st place.
Absolutely fantastic action then as everyone finds themselves over the line then here at Lime Rock Park. We're not done here yet, ladies and gentlemen, but I believe you need a breather just as much as we do here today around this fantastic track. Join us in a couple of moments' time as we'll take you to the -273 post-race show.
That's a battle for position. That's for the lead. They've run down long finally. They have finally caught him up, and this allows the 48 to finally get into it, and he is going to take the advantage of the chance. He is going to get by Acosta. Is he also going to be able to get by the lead? It looks like he might be able to get 2 positions as one. He gets a hello from the 5 behind. No wreck, though, just a little bit of contact. The bumping and rubbing might actually shove Octavio Rondeletto back to the lead for the first time in some time, and indeed, Octavio to the point. Big wreck, and Marty and more cars. It looks like John Keefe is in there, and Gabbiani is carrying him. Literally carrying him.
Car 19's got a new hat. I wouldn't expect to be a Marlboro branded hat, but there you go. Unfortunately, John Keefe having to be a passenger all the way, literally, through that entire incident. That is worthy of a replay right there.
He got himself a cowboy hat. Bradley Hawley not defending. He's going to leave the door open. Michael Michaud is going to try and take it. He sends it in deep. Will they make contact, or are they going to keep it clean? They're going to keep just enough space between them. And for the 2nd lap in a row, Hawley is able to hold his nose ahead.
Able to hold his nose ahead, and he knows that the advantage is now going to switch back to him through Rauch. That is Michaud trying to carry that momentum around the high side. Isn't able to do so. Dives back in the line, looking for a little bit of a crossover there. Starts to get his nose down to the inside into Verth. He's going to go for the maneuver. Hawley able to hold it out, but he may run wide here at the exit. Will that give an advantage back? No, but it will give it back to Boucher, who's now able to make the move on Michaud. A little bit of a look there from Parson, and that's just him trying to poke his nose, see if he can get any sort of a head fake, and he got one.
He goes a little bit wide, sent it in deep. He's got the inside into the second corner, though. Is Partonen could be able to complete the pass. He tries to pinch him down, but gives him a fair bit of space. The battle continues down into turn 3. He's on the inside. They're going to bang wheels. They come together. He knocks him back straight, but Partonen is now your leader. Here comes Glover up the inside, down through the final turn and onto the front stretch, almost pushing him off the track. He has to slow up. We're going to go 3 wide as to the inside of both of them. Bergstrom says, thank you very much. I am going to snatch up P7 with that.
Oh, here comes Nicholson. He's going to look around the outside, going through that first sector. Has to look for the crossover now. He's going to go down to the inside.
It continues into turn 3. They go wheel to wheel. Track switches back. He's actually got a nose ahead, but just no grip on the marbles. Almost goes out into the grass, but he's holding on just barely.
What an incredible race we've had here today as we bring ourselves to the minus 273 post-race show. Whether it's on the real track or the virtual track, minus 273 has one goal in mind, and that is to produce the best racing gloves to get the job done. With unmatched comfort, durability, and style, their gloves will leave your old ones in the dust. Find out how they can help you by visiting minus273.biz. What an incredible race we have found ourselves with. It was drama and action-packed from beginning to end, but it was very much a case of Si Senor up top for Pablo Espes, whose victory was managed to be manufactured by the tune of 1.4 seconds over Caleb Hyde, with Kenny Brady finding a way onto the podium in 3rd place. Cam Eben, with the damage, had that chance of victory, but it just fell away in the final stages, with Jordan Bachmeier finishing in 5th position with a last lap pass on Jarrett Liebert there for 6th position. From that point onwards, though, the second group had their own fights. Anthony Burrows with a great race there, finishing in 7th ahead of Austin Johnson there in 8th place. Brandon Hawkin finishing 9th will be a little bit disappointed with that, but a great run, up 11 spots today. One of your biggest movers in the field, Ari Haro, finishing in 10th.
In P11, we have Shane Sullivan trying to make a good run with Pavel Samanik, Kedzia following him, and Austin J. Smith right behind there. And then uncharacteristically in P15, Daniel Bristow in the final points-paying position. P16, Sam Smith, Lee Martin following him with Paulo Miranda, followed by Tyler Gary and Ryan Busk, brings out the top 20.
Absolutely does, and these drivers from this point onwards are a lap down or worse, so a very hectic race with a lot of dramas for the likes of Dave Chapman, Neil Sentkovsky a lap down, Thomas Geisler, Ryan Pandiskio and Szabolcs Prem are 2 and 3 laps down respectively. Pavel Pavluk 13 laps down. These are retirements now. Thomas Schmidt, Dominic Ploner after getting a penalty after his contact with Yuan Jilin. Then you had Adam Mariak also out of the race, and that included as well the likes of Matthew Barkhouse, Caden Rush, Nick Carthy, and Eli Andujar out there on track. No start today for Jaume Dalmases, which would have been a real shame. We are going to get the chance, though, to talk with some of our drivers here, and, well, first and foremost, we're going to grab in Caleb Hyde for a little bit of a conversation. Caleb, good morning, first and foremost, for you. What an important race that turned out to be. How crucial was it for you to stay in rhythm and in range? You had the lead at the beginning, and effectively you were setting the tempo for how the race would be run.
Yeah, thanks. Very early in the morning. Yeah, it was quite an interesting race. A lot of elbows out, I guess, in that later half of the event. But yeah, it's good to get some good points for the championship. So overall, pretty happy with the result.
Talk about coming out of the pits, because you had yourself a very, very busy fight as you got yourself into play. And this is the sort of racetrack where the moment you start battling, it can very easily be a case of you're losing seconds, like trying to crawl out of a rose bush. How important was it for you to get back into position with that run late on in the race?
Yeah, it was quite unfortunate with pit exit, because I'm pretty sure I had Brandon on the outside of me, I think, racing off pit road. So we lost a lot of time from that, and I think that's probably what cost me the race win today, to be honest. Obviously, the pole position was good, so we're looking quite quick. But yeah, it was good to at least get back into position and not pick up any damage. I think him and someone else ended up spinning off and crashing the next lap. So yeah, I was close to getting involved in that, but luckily I didn't. So yeah, overall P2, good result.
Definitely a good result for you. And in terms of now how you re-navigate and refocus here, a race which was just a second out of reach, but a very, very draft-dependent track coming up next at the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. How do you look at that in terms of a challenge and go, okay, it's a big track with a lot of drafting, but again, the same principle applies. You've got to be in range. You've got to be in that front group to have a chance.
Yeah, Spa will be a lot of fun, but it'll also be very interesting because basically the top 15, it's anyone's race to win, to be honest. So qualifying won't be too important, just making sure that, you know, you're there and thereabouts. And yeah, the main thing will just not be picking up damage, because even if you've got like a mirror fallen off or whatever for that last lap, then that can take you right out of contention. So it'll be damage limitation for sure, just playing smart, keeping your car clean throughout the whole race. Obviously, it's quite a long race, 40 minutes. Obviously, the lap times are really long, so it'll be interesting with the strategy, because I'd imagine, yeah, it'll be a huge draft pack race, so it'll be interesting if, you know, there can be a few guys that throw a curveball and maybe break up the pack by pitting late or whatnot. So, yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Well, the floor is yours, Caleb. Shout out sponsors. Anyone you'd like to thank after this P2 finish here today?
Yeah, just massive thank you to everyone that gets this series on. Massive thank you to Cam, obviously, who runs it, and then all my mates that were racing together today: Anthony, Cam, Shane, Kenny, all those guys. So yeah, it was good fun.
No worries at all there. Caleb Hyde coming away with second position. Such an important result for him. Michael, you've managed to walk down the paddock and you've managed to find yourself with a certain Mr. Kenny Brady, who finished in third.
I have Kenny Brady. Wow. 8 positions. 8 positions. One more time. 8 positions. Did you see yourself moving up 8 positions from the start of this race?
Yeah, man. It's like the story of my season. I qualify. I'm not the best qualifier, and I qualify like 10th to 15th every week, and I know I have the pace, you know, like the race pace, the consistency. It's just I just struggle with qualifying, and yeah, man. I mean, I've been driving through the field, I feel, all season, so I knew I had an uphill battle once again, starting I think 11th or 12th. But I was just able to pick off some spots there. I think I got up to 6th or 7th before a pit, and I ended up 3rd. So I'll take it. It was it's definitely tough to, you know, start in the middle of the pack, you know, for these races. There's just so much going on, and everyone's so close. It's so hard to gain spots, but somehow managed P30 out of that.
So as I look through the KFB lap times here, I see an incredibly tight grouping of laps. I mean, it's 57-1, 57-3, 57-5, 57-3. You were like a perfectly tuned watch. What do you owe that to? Is it the other competitors? Is it your immense skill? Where do you get these times down?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I've been racing these cars a long time. I've raced Lime Rock plenty of times. It's such a fun track. The new version is really fun with the curbs and everything. But yeah, man, I don't know. It's just you got to be so consistent to, you know, run up front in these races, especially, you know, to finish on the podium. You definitely got to be hitting your marks. So you know, I got, you know, I got, you know, let off the hook sometimes going off track. I definitely used my instant limit to its advantage. I think I had like a 16x, but I did get a 4x when, you know, that wreck happened after pitting. But yeah, man, I think it's just, you know, I've just been doing it for a while, so I was just able to adapt again to this track, and definitely paid off.
So Big C himself was ahead of you a couple of laps from the end, trying to pick him off. Did you know that Cam was damaged?
Yeah, I did know Cam was damaged.
So you were like a lion hunting him down. You're ready to make pounce on him and make the kill.
Well, yeah, I mean, for sure, but you know, you're running in a pack with other cars. You got guys behind you, and you gotta make your moves very carefully, because if you don't, you know, make the move and be able to get the pass, you could have another guy behind you try and overtake you. So once I saw that we were catching Cam, I was really just following whatever Caleb did, because I was behind Caleb and I had two guys behind me. So I really wanted to finish on the podium. So whatever, I was glad I was able to get around Cam there. I mean, it was tough. I had to hold him through turn 3 up top. So that was definitely difficult. But yeah, I mean, once I knew he had damage, I definitely thought I could get the spot there. And Pablo was long gone. I think maybe if we had like another 5-8 laps, we could have got to him, but he was flying. So definitely happy with getting that position and getting in the P3.
Yeah, well done. Absolutely beautiful. You had a little battle going on with Bachmeier for a little bit of it, Liebert in that group. What was the trick that got you ahead and out of the clutches of Bachmeier and Liebert?
Yeah, man, it's really funny because me and Jordan are like equal pace every week. I feel like, or or one week he'll be a tad bit quicker and then I'll be, because I'm always near him and I'm always battling him and passing him. He's passing me back and we're drafting. So he's definitely a good competitor to race against because I've been around him so much. And I was able to get in front of him, and I think I was just a tad bit better than him in the final corner. So that's where I would gain my time. And I feel like Jarrett was about my pace. He was just kind of being patient. I think he might have underfueled and maybe he was saving, because I mean, he had caught Jordan a bunch of times off the final corner and didn't overtake. So I don't know if he was trying to stay in line, save some fuel. But yeah, man, I mean, once I got by him, it was just, I honestly wasn't even worried about what was going on in my mirror. I was just trying to, keep my eyes, ahead of me and focus on trying to keep up with Caleb and catch the leaders.
So this track is often thought of kind of as a reverse oval, which you tend to like the ovals, as I understand. You're pretty good there. But next week is my personal favorite track in the world. I've driven a lot, real life in the sim, but Spa. What's your thought on Spa? Where do you see yourself ending up at Spa?
I don't know, man. It's been a while since I've raced there, especially in a Mazda. I remember a couple seasons back, I was actually running second, going for the win in this league at Spa, and we all, piled in there and wrecked, as that last corner is. So I love that track. It's all really just, every time I load into each race, it's just, and throughout the week when I do laps, it's just practicing my single car pace, because at the end of the day, I can be the fastest car out there, but if I start, mid-pack, and I can get caught up in a wreck or lose the lead pack, and the track's really big with drafts, so it just all depends on where I can start. I feel confident that I can win. I just need to be able to, start good and get in the lead pack, and then be able to, pick them off one by one, or get the pole. That'd be cool. But we'll see.
Yeah, pole's always cool. Also the top step of the podium. You're on the third step. We'll see what happens to you next week at Spa. Any special shout outs throw out to Fortnite or anything you'd like to say?
Well, I run the Fortnite car because I'm like the only guy that plays Fortnite nowadays. Love that game. But no, I just want to shout out my oval team, I guess, Charge Racing, everyone over there. I want to shout out Rocket Racing Setups and Martin Sports. Those guys are sponsoring me throughout next year for when I do Road to Pro and everything. So definitely got to give a shout out to those guys as well. And you guys for the broadcast.
Well, thank you very much, Kenny. Appreciate you being here. Fantastic job in this race today. Right now, it looks like Jake has Cam Eben for a few words for us.
Certainly no beating around the bush there with Kenny Brady. Cam Eben joining us right now in fourth position. Cam, it looked like that race was pretty much fairy tale until about 10 laps to go. You found yourself out there in front with a gap out there, but miscommunication with the traffic and, it all falls apart.
Yeah, it was super unfortunate. It was just a weird situation. I was coming out of the corner. I didn't really have any time to react. I was still tracking out, and he just stabbed on the brakes, and I piled in, and that was that, I guess. Got the engine damage, and I was just trying to salvage what I could after that. But yeah, it's unfortunate. I wish that wouldn't have happened. Wished maybe he could have been a little bit more aware, or at least if he wanted to let me by, maybe do it at a different point. It was just really bad timing there, so tried to salvage what I could.
tried to salvage what you could. And how important was it in those final stages to get those couple of laps behind Pablo Espes there, get a bit of draft and just give yourself some margin to fight in the final couple of laps?
Yeah, definitely super helpful just tailing behind him at least a little bit. I knew I wasn't going to be able to catch him, but just drafting behind him was pulling me along and kept the others at least at bay for a little bit. And once they got to me, then I was just trying to fight for the last couple laps, and I managed to take fourth, so I'll take it. I'd say it went pretty well.
I mean, it's still a whole heap of amount of points. You've got Spa-Francorchamps coming up next time out here with the MX-5 Challenge. So do you look at this maybe as, okay, it could have been a whole lot worse. I could have had no race from here. My car could have been totaled. And, you know, it's just another race that you go into with the challenge that you've got moving forward at Spa, such a very draft-dependent track.
Yeah, I like the pace that I had today, and I really like Spa moving forward, so I believe that it'll go just as well. I feel like I can put myself in another good position to at least contest for the wins, so as long as everything goes according to plan, I'm looking forward to it, and should be a good race.
Floor is yours, Cam. Shout out sponsors, anyone you'd like to thank?
Yeah, for sure, the league sponsors, we got Butt Kicker, SHH Shifter, and -273. All the drivers coming in and week out, putting on a show. It's great to have participants to make this league flow. And you guys at GSRC for the great broadcast. It's always a pleasure.
No worries at all then. Cam Eben joining us there. Fourth position could have been maybe a little bit more, but ultimately that will do that then for our interviews. Before we do, though, bring ourselves to the close, Michael, just final thoughts here on this -273 post-race show. How important was it today to just keep yourself in a range to go and attack? We know anything's possible when it comes to racing, even more so with sim racing, and we really saw that here today.
Yeah, we saw a beautiful battle all the way through the field. Everyone was really bringing it as best they could. A few unfortunate incidents, but that's racing. That's the way it goes. Now, the interesting thing here is to look ahead. People look at Spa and they look at Lime Rock and think, wow, what different tracks. And I got to tell you, no, they're not. There is a lot of time spent drafting at both tracks. They're both in the middle of beautiful forests, wooded areas. They're gorgeous tracks, and they're kind of that old school track feel. So while Spa may be 2, 3, 4 times longer than this track is, I think we're going to see some very similar racing, and we're going to see a lot of people trying to push that limit and sitting in a draft, working together, trying to go down the Kemmel Straight and get their pack away from the pack that's just behind them 4, 5, 6 seconds. So tune in next week. I think we're going to see another absolutely brilliant race from the Big C's crew.
Absolutely, and of course you can catch that with us here at this circuit, the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps, on the road to Liège-Bastogne-Liège, one of the great Ardennes triples that goes along with La Flèche Wallonne, and of course the Amstel Gold Race in terms of the triple classics of cycling. But a massive thank you has to go to everyone who helped get it done today. Of course, you saw just there a moment ago the team. Of course, myself, Jake Sperry, Michael Johnson, who's been alongside with me for the ride, Ryan Bauer, our director, and Dougie Beard, who has been on the cameras here for this one today. Some brilliant cameras he creates. And also a massive thank you to all of the software and hardware for our broadcast. You can catch all of what we work with here on screen, as well as the music that is done by June Lalonde. Her stuff is absolutely fantastic, and you can see the screen for how to get a hold of more of her great work over on Bandcamp. Now, of course, for more information about the Global SimRacing Channel, GSRC, you can find us on all of these platforms that we go and get things do. And please check out our merchandise store as well at simracingmerch.com/GSRC. Keep a link in the description below as well. So don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well, so that you do not miss a moment of all of the action that goes along here through all sorts of events. Our next event is this one, Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps, December 12th. Mark it down on the calendar. That is when you need to jump in and get yourself in for the ride. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. We've got so many more series coming up as well over the course of the weeks. Mark them down here from week 12 all the way into fabled week 13 here in iRacing, where everybody gets the chance to test out some brand new content. And well, it's this content that brings us to an end for now. But until next time here, ladies and gentlemen, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.